So in looking at how to solve this rational equation, we're first going to answer the question to see what value or values of the variable make the denominator equal to 0. Remember that we're not allowed to have zeros in the denominator, so no zeros in the denominator. That's the cardinal rule we've always used. And in this four terms that are in this equation, there's a variable over here in this term, and there's a variable x in this term as well. So if I want to know what values for x cause each of these two terms to be equal to 0, I'm going to take the terms, set them equal to 0, and solve. So what do I mean? So we're going to start with the first term over here, the 3x. If I take 3x, set it equal to 0, and solve, I find out that when x is equal to 0, it's going to cause this denominator to become 0. We can't have that, so we want to keep that in mind. In the second term, 6x is equal to 0, we can see that when x is equal to 0 in this second fraction, that again causes the denominator to be equal to 0. So the number or numbers that are not allowed in the denominator in this particular case would have to be the number 0. So that's the number that we would have to exclude. Now if we turn back to solving the equation for the second part of this, I want to clear the equation of the variables, of the denominators. So when I think of that, I'm going to try to determine what the the least common denominator would be between all four of these terms. So the LCD for all four of these terms, I've got a 3x, 4, 6x, and a 3. I need to figure out what is the one number that all of these terms in the denominator are going to divide into, and it's never going to be smaller than any of the numbers you see there. So the numbers 3, 4, 6, again 3, are all going to divide evenly into the number 12, and then I also need to make sure that I clear that denominator of any x's. So that's the LCD that I'm going to multiply through. So I'm going to multiply each of these four terms by the LCD, or by 12x. And what happens when I do that? So I would have 12x times 2 over 3x plus 12x over 1/4 is equal to 12x times 46 over 6x minus 12x times 1/3. Now when we multiply fractions, what we're going to have here is I'm going to cancel the x's. 3 divides into 12 4 times, so 4 times the 2 that's left there gives me 8. Plus 4 divides into 12 3 times, so that would be 3x. That's going to be equal to, x's are going to cancel here, 6 divides into 12 2 times, 2 times 46 is 92, minus 3 divides into 12 4 times, so that would be 4x. So by multiplying the original equation up here by the least common denominator of 12x, I end up with this nicer equation down here. So I'm going to collect all of my variables on the same side. So I'm going to add 4x to the left-hand side, and that's going to give me 8 plus 7x is equal to 92. And then I'm going to subtract 8 to the right-hand side, and I get 7x is equal to 84. And then I divide both sides by 7, and I get x is equal to 12. If I wanted to check that answer, I could substitute it back into the original equation, but I found out that x is actually equal to 12.